What's up everyone, Dave here with another exciting tutorial, and today I'm going to talk about grease pencil in Blender, okay? Specifically doing comic style illustrations. So if we look here, I have an illustration by Doberman84, okay? So you can go to Google and just find a comic illustration as inspiration. You can see here's this one here. And what we're going to do is we're going to essentially import that and then trace it to learn how to do color, how to do line work, and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'm going to do in Blender is go to File, New, 2D Animation. Okay. Now I'm set up. I've got a 2D canvas that I can draw on. Okay, Control Z to get rid of that. But the first thing I'm going to do is bring in my image. So I'm going to middle mouse click, and now I'm in 3D space. I'm going to switch to object mode. And then I'm going to go to add, and then I can go to image mesh plane, add image mesh plane. I could also do this, Shift A, will bring up that menu as well. So image mesh plane. Now I'm going to go find that image. Okay. So here it is, comic illustration, and import. Okay, great. There it is. Now I can press S if I want to scale it bigger. And now if I press 0 on the number pad, I'm going to be in my render window. And I can see that maybe it's a little bit too big, so I'm going to press S and bring it like that. And now I can middle mouse wheel up or down. And okay, cool. Actually, I might bring it even a little bit more. There we go. Nice. I could shift middle mouse to kind of move around like that. Okay, great. Now I've got a good setup. Now let's talk about how to color this, how to do these dots in the background, things like that. So the first thing I'm going to do is over here, I have a stroke in the scene that is by default because I did new 2D animation. Now that stroke is a grease pencil stroke. And if I look here, I can go to data. I can see that it automatically comes with lines and fill, and it also comes with all these materials. Okay. Now I'm just going to create my own. So if I go Shift A, again, I'm in object mode, Shift A, grease pencil empty. Now I have a new grease pencil, my own, and you can see that I have clean layers and also clean materials. Okay. So I think it's a little bit kind of easier. So I'm going to, on my grease pencil, in fact, I'm going to delete the other one. Right click and go to delete. Now I've got this. Now for my layer, I'm going to double click and I'm going to call this line work. Okay. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and trace this image. And when I'm tracing it, I can see here that my material, again, I'm basically clicking on these two things. My material is set to black, and I can see that it is set to stroke. So that means that if I switch this to draw mode, now if I draw in here, I'm drawing a stroke as opposed to a solid kind of fill. And we'll see that later. Now, if you're using a tablet, you can see that when I draw, depending on how hard I press, it's going to respond to that. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to turn that off up here. I'm also going to put my strength to 100. So now it doesn't matter how hard I press, and I'm getting 100%. I could also choose my brush down here. If I wanted to see the brush names, I could come here and say names. Okay. Then if I wanted to change the size, I could change the size here, and I can see that. I might as well make it kind of as wide as my screen if I want to. And I have pencil, sometimes pen. Okay, I feel like pen is a nice clean line. You could try some other ones. Here's marker, chisel. By the way, to make your brush bigger or smaller, you can hit the bracket keys on your keyboard. You could also press F to change it as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna go to, I think pen. Yeah, I kind of like pen is nice. So I'm gonna just undo these. Okay, great. Pen. Now, what I have here is line work, and then my material is black. And that's pretty simple because that's all we have right now. So I'll go ahead and just kind of get going here. So I'm going to just trace this out. going to start by just kind of outlining the head. And it might be kind of difficult to see if you actually like what you've got going on, because we're tracing this and we have the image behind it kind of in full color. So maybe I want to make the image lighter. So what I'm going to do is on my layers, so I have to go here to the squiggly line, and I'm going to make a new layer, hit the plus sign, and I'm going to call this Whiteout. Okay, and now if I need to change my material. Oh, and by the way, if I get out of that, I can press 0 on the number pad, and now I'm back in. Okay, Whiteout here, if I switch my material, I don't want whiteout to be a stroke. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to have it a fill. And I'm going to go here, and I can put alpha to 1. Okay, and you can see what happens here. If I do that, well, it's changing that. So I need to make a new material. So I don't want to affect this material here, right? That doesn't make any sense. I'm going to leave that at stroke. Okay, that's good. I'm going to make a new material, and I'm going to click on plus. I'm going to call this material Whiteout. Okay, now I can see that my Whiteout layer has the Whiteout material. And for Whiteout material, I'm going to turn stroke off and have fill on. Now I'm going to have this set to white. Notice how it didn't affect the other one. Now I'm just going to draw a white square around the whole object. Okay, now obviously I lost my lines. So if I come back here to my layers, whoop, I have to hit enter to finish that. If I come back here to my squiggly line, I can put whiteout underneath my line work. And I can do that by just going like that. And I can see that it's like that. Now I can change whiteout. I can change the opacity of it. And you can see here that I can kind of change the opacity. So anytime that I want to see full color, I can put opacity to 0. Anytime I want to see kind of a scale of it, I can kind of go like that. So now it's kind of cool. I've got my line work and I've got whiteout. So now I'm going to go back to line work, go back to my materials, and go back to black. Okay, because that's my line work material. And I'm going to continue this process. I have to make sure I'm in draw mode, paintbrush, and I'm going to go ahead and continue lining this out. Okay, excellent. And if I want to zoom in, that's fine. I could zoom in. I'm going to focus on the face right now. So we can start to see some concepts and how to apply color, and then I'll slowly kind of do that with the rest of it as well, obviously. But I'm going to just kind of, instead of inking the whole thing, I'm just going to kind of start with just the face. And even something like this, these shadow marks, and kind of go like that. I mean, and I'm talking black shadow. You'll notice there's kind of a blue shadow in there. We'll talk about that. Okay, excellent. So now we've got a good start to our line work. And then I can come here to my whiteout, put that to 100%, actually whiteout right here. Now I can see what that looks like. Okay, great. Now, how am I going to color this? Okay, so that is the $1 million question. And of course, I can edit my line work as well, but I'm going to start coloring it in the next lesson.